Through these woods, sometimes at minus 30 degrees, a record number of immigrants try to evade American patrols. With snow up to their knees and often carrying their entire lives in a backpack, dozens of adults, but also children, are stopped here every week.
I've never seen numbers like this before. It happens pretty much on a nightly basis. And we've had a lot of immigrants here that are at this facility that say, we had no idea it was freezing cold and you had ice on the ground and you had these types of conditions up here. It's really hard for us in law enforcement because we don't know who's who and what we can do to help them stay alive and find out where they want to go. I think that needs to be addressed at a much higher level.
People living near the border are also surprised.
My son was upstairs in his hiding spot.
In Canada, Martin Gamache and his family have seen for months an increasing number of people crossing through their property.
First day of hunting season, migrants crossed just here. There were 6 of them. My son was sitting there in the morning. The United States are this way. If you walk a straight line for 150, 200 meters, you'll reach the U.S. My home is about 500 meters that way.
Up until now, Martin and his wife were used to seeing asylum seekers come into Canada. Their home is close to Roxham Road, and that's where nearly 40,000 people crossed from the United States into Canada last year, according to the country's Border Services Agency.
It's more South and Central Americans who cross to return to the United States. Before, we used to see all sorts of people coming in.
Even people from DR Congo.
People from around the world are arriving from the US, but now it's people from South and Central America returning to the United States.
Despite its status as an unofficial crossing, Roxham Road has a semi-permanent police post set up by the federal government where officers can begin processing asylum claims. But as tough as the road to Roxham is, the trek seems harder southbound from Canada to the United States. It's even turned deadly. On December 23rd, Fritznell Richard, a refugee asylum seeker in Canada, decides to brave the storm and cross into the United States to join his family. Richard was disoriented and suffering from hypothermia. The 44-year-old Haitian man lost contact with his wife, who was waiting for him in Florida. A patrol located his body the next day, just a few hundred meters from the border.
Fritznell Richard is each and every one of you, hoping for a better life in Canada or elsewhere.
For Montreal's migrant community, Richard's eagerness to head back to the United States shows the lengthy wait refugees face while their requests are processed.
The Canadian dream isn't what it once was. The high cost of living means it's hard to make ends meet. After a year, Mr. Richard still didn't have his work permit, but he still had his American dream. He thought maybe it'll be better in the United States. Canada isn't what it once was, so they decide to risk the return journey. There's more of them than you'd think.
Immigrants are contending with the option of living an illegal life in the United States rather than living as refugees in Canada. The only available data regarding illegal border crossings in the United States shows that 344 people were arrested while crossing from Canada in January. That's 8 times more than last year.
Roxham Road used to actually be one road from U.S. and Canada.
Amy Mountcastle teaches 50 kilometers away from the border. She specializes in immigration and is researching the journey refugees make between the United States and Canada. Immigration lawyers we spoke to and Mountcastle believe asylum seekers will face the same difficulties in the United States. It might even be harder than in Canada.
The Canadian system, especially in Quebec, has been stressed. My understanding is that people are treated fairly well. They're able to apply for work permits. They're able to apply to get their kids in school. They're able to apply for medical benefits, all while waiting for their hearings and determination of status. In the U.S., the safety net is not there for migrating people. I mean, there's a tendency to sort of criminalize that process a bit. It does happen in Canada, as I said, but I think it happens a lot less often.
In 2022, the Canadian Border Services Agency registered just over 64,000 asylum requests. Canada often remains for many asylum seekers their safest and last bet.